In the video we put out a couple of weeks ago where we had our tire issue, that was kind of a blowout, but wasn't really a blowout. I'm not going to go into it, but if you want to see what's worse than a blowout, I'll have a link down below and you can go check that video out. But in that video, I mentioned that I didn't have the right tools that I thought I did for the job to change a tire. I have a bottle jack that fits under the axle just perfectly. We have the MORryde independent suspension, by the way, so we have no leaf springs or real axles. But that bottle jack is great for working on the tire. I can get it into there, jack it up, take the tire off, do all the things that I need to that axle. However, in a blowout situation where the tire is lower because the tire's not on there or it's off like ours was, the whole thing is lower and the bottle jack just doesn't fit under there. So in that video, you saw that I used our hydraulic levelers to lift the RV, and that was completely fine. I thought I'd catch a lot of slack from that, but surprisingly, pretty much everybody does that. So it is the way it is. I mentioned in that video that I would share this with you, and I also want to test it for my own sake, because that's lesson number one of this whole video is don't wait until you're on the side of the road with a blown out tire to make sure you've got all the tools and things necessary to change that tire. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to test this new method out and see if I can get it working and feel a lot more confident on the road that if I do have a blowout, this system will work. So back to what I'm actually testing here. Now, when you've got an RV that requires manual leveling, you can use leveling blocks, which you just stack up, you drive up on, or you can use something like this. Now, this has a lot of names online, but I'm going to call it a banana leveler for obvious reasons. This is a model we picked up when we were camping in a little Serra Nova. It's a 20-foot RV. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see how we survived in that 20-foot RV versus this giant 46, 47, whatever it is. But we needed one of these, and that's what this one is. You can see the whole concept is really very simple. You drive up onto it, it lifts the tire up, and then you put this shock underneath it, and it just holds your wheels up off the ground and levels you. However, this one, I believe, is only about 4 inches high. So I don't think that's going to be high enough to change a tire. It might be. So I bought these other ones that you can see over here that raise 6 inches. So I'm hoping that 6 inches will be high enough to change a tire out. However, I got to looking at those things and they seem like they might be a bit long lengthwise, and I'll get into why that matters once we get over here and test. I think it's worth noting here that this method that I'm going to test with this banana leveler won't work with a single axle trailer. You have no good tire to go up onto to lift the bad tire up to change it. So you just can't. But because of the length of these ones that I bought another pair from Camco. I don't think they're quite 6 inches, but they're more than 4 and they're a little bit shorter. Got them right over here. We're going to test both of those out. But there's a big difference in using this type of leveling on a tandem axle, a 2-axle system versus a tri-axle system. Obviously you can see we have triple axle here. So let's go over there and we'll just test these things out and I'll show you what I mean by the length. All right, so this first set is by Olemi. Olemi, I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's just one that I found on Amazon. And it's nice that it comes in this little case and everything. You've got a set of 2 in here. And that's one of the first things I want to mention is with a triple axle system, you're going to want 2 sets of these because you don't want to lift all the weight of the RV onto just one tire and one set of these. If you've got a triple axle, you're going to want to lift the 2 good wheels to change the bad wheel. Now, if you've got a tandem axle, it doesn't matter how long this is because you can put it either in front and drive onto it, or you can put it behind and back onto it and get your good tire up off the ground. So I think a set of 1 of these would be great for a tandem axle. This has a lot of height to it, and you're probably not going to go wrong with this particular set. But the problem is, if you have a triple axle and you're going to end up lifting 2 wheels, it doesn't matter which wheel you have to lift, you're going to have to put one of these between the wheels. This one just doesn't quite fit between the wheels. I have this other set of banana levelers, and appropriately enough, this one's yellow. And these are much shorter this way. You can see huge difference in the length of these. And I hope this one's gonna fit. Otherwise, this video will be over really fast. But I think these are gonna be fine. Yeah. Oh yeah. These are gonna fit fine. And these are about 4.5 inches high, so a little bit higher than this model. Obviously much shorter. Let's just give these a try and see how they do. Now for this example, I'm gonna pretend that our middle tire is blown just like in that last video, and let's see what we get. Future Chad here. I've come to save you from the time of watching us fail so many times on this particular thing because, per usual, things did not go as planned. Attempt number 1 with the yellow Camco banana levelers kind of worked, but they sunk into the ground too much to be useful as a tire changing tool.
They're positioned where you want them to be, but the middle tire's not. I mean, it's like kind of off the ground, but barely.
You know what? I think I need something under these because these are sinking into the ground a little bit. So I decided a simple fix might be to put some boards underneath there to eliminate the sinking and maybe even provide some extra height. After remembering that I had some long ramps left here by the previous cabin owners that were made of 2x8s, I cut off the end sections that had a little portion of ramp and put the Camco levelers on top of those.
Bananas are still being pushed, babe.
So yeah, attempt number 2, fail. The levelers just slid right off of the boards. I thought maybe the smooth round bolt from those little mini ramps on the ends might be making the banana leveler slide and then just keep going. So I cut another section of that board, eliminating that part to see if that would help. Attempt number 3, fail. So I thought maybe, okay, they're gonna slide on this wood no matter what, but I had another idea. I'm gonna take this stuff off.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put screws.
Oh, so they have more grippy.
So they dig into the wood at the very front here.
Okay.
So as soon as the tire gets on there, it pushes those screw heads into the wood, and that should get it long enough on there. Maybe I'll put a couple on the way up too, just as it rolls over to get grip. So
okay.
Basically, I'm going to be looking at some cleats for the bananas. Banana cleats.
Nice.
Trademark that. So I put the screws through the banana levelers from the top sticking out the bottom. Surely this is going to dig right into that wood and the RV is going to climb right up on them. Check it out. Cleats.
Nice.
And nothing is going to puncture the tire, so.
Oh, I thought it was gonna work, but it still slid.
Nope, that one failed too. So the screws either dug right through the wood or they bent over and were ineffective. And at this point, I'm about ready to scrap this whole concept. But I think I got one more idea. You know, these we already determined weren't gonna fit right in here, but I think this plus a block of wood will work. I think if I get the wood to lift the tire up a little bit, I'll have a little bit of gap under here to get this under. Oh yeah. Okay. We are back in business with Ulemi or Ulemi.
Okay, carry on.
Here we go. These are pretty tall, so it's probably going to take some power.
Okay, stop. Perfect. You're where you want to be, I think.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. You were asking what these are for?
Yeah. Ah. Yeah, because you definitely need it. You don't want them slipping off of those, when you're changing a tire. That would be real bad.
So now I'm going to let it come back just a touch.
Okay. I think that looks pretty good right there. You like the way it looks?
Yeah. Yeah, that is exactly what we wanted. So now, easy peasy changing that tire. Ooh, okay, well that was quite the experiment, and clearly things did not turn out like I thought they would. But that's the whole point of doing an experiment like this, is to figure out what works and what doesn't. If I had just gone off and traveled and thought, okay, those Camcos, they fit, they work, you know, they'll be fine, I would have been disappointed on the side of the road with a blown out tire and no way to change it, you know, if I didn't have the hydraulics. The thing is, these Camcos aren't designed for changing a tire. There's nothing in the listing that says, change the tire with these. I just thought they would work because they look like they would. And I think they would have been okay for leveling, but because they weren't tall enough to change the tire, you know, I tried my modifications, pulling the rubber off, putting spikes in there. None of that worked, but none of that is really, you know, in design of this thing to work anyway. So no beef at all with the Camco thing. I think they would work great for leveling. But the ones that I didn't think would work because they were too big, they worked fine. They worked great. All I had to do was get up on like a little piece of wood first, and then they fit under there fine. So again, my whole point with this video was to test these out and prove or disprove them and see what worked and what didn't work. And these Ulemis worked great. You may have to do a little finagling to get them to fit like I did with the block of wood, or you may just drive right up on them. But the thing is, they're super, super tall. I mean, they're 6 inches tall. So you can see that even though they're sinking into the ground a little bit here with this gravel, I got plenty of room. I got a good 1.5 inches underneath that tire there, and that tire's fully inflated and it's, you know, it's on there. But I would have no problem now changing that tire, and I feel completely comfortable that this isn't going anywhere. It's like double chocked, it's all good, it's sitting there. So Ulemis were a winner. But whatever you decide to try, the whole point here is test it. Test it while you're home or in your storage area or wherever you keep your RV when you're not traveling. Test out whatever method you're going to use to try to get up to change a tire. Now, along that same line, you want to make sure you have the proper tools, and I highly, highly recommend an impact gun for getting the tire off and back on again. Saves you a lot of time, works great, but I will caution you, do not use an impact gun to torque down the lugs. You can over torque them, and even if you back them off, you might have already damaged that stud there. So, figure out what you need to change a tire, do a test run, make sure it all works, and then you'll feel a lot more comfortable. If you have a blowout on the side of the road, you know exactly what to do. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you would maybe share it, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.